It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Charles Osgood.
Not every musical star of the 1960s has an enviable track record. Most faded in the stretch and are hardly remembered today. But not so the songwriter Rita Braver is about to introduce us to in this Sunday Profile.
All right, so we're going to place a bet.
But I only have 3 minutes to post time.
All right, so let's go.
Chip Taylor knows his way around the racetrack as if he were at home.
Well, I think this horse is ready to run a very good race today. He's the Apple Turn Mike. He's the 2 horse.
And for nearly 15 years, this was his home, New York's Belmont Park,
The 1's in front and the 3 is third on the outside.
where he came almost every day as a gambler to study the horses and figure out which ones were his best bet.
Watch this horse's foot here. And I'll look at the front feet.
You can actually tell whether
Look at the front feet. That foot right there is somewhere between a 5- and a 4+.
in terms of how flat the foot is.
It's raised. It's a fairly raised foot.
Gambling, you see, wasn't just a game.
Can I have a $20 Jack the Box 1, 3, 4?
It was his muse and his livelihood.
But you know, you really worked at it. It was a job.
Oh, yeah, it was a fun job. It's like doing a major crossword puzzle. It took take you all night and all day, you know. So.
But what's even harder to believe is what Chip Taylor gave up to become a full-time gambler.
Hey! Wow! Hey, my horse!
Jimi Hendrix may have made Wild Thing a rock and roll anthem, but it was Taylor who wrote the song in 1966. Janis Joplin sang Taylor's Try Just a Little Bit Harder.
Just a little bit harder, so I can love him.
And we can all sing along to his famous Angel of the Morning.
Just call me Angel of the Morning, Angel.
When I started writing hits, I was a very proud period of time that I loved the fact that other people would record my songs.
I was 7 and 10 years and hiding the fears behind the sound of the steel guitar.
Still, like many other songwriters, Taylor wanted to sing his own music. He began recording, releasing 6 solo albums, including Last Chance, which Rolling Stone magazine called one of the best country albums of 1973.
This is the last chance. Are we gonna take it?
But in 1980, Taylor clashed with his recording label when the bosses wouldn't promote what he thought was a hit single.
It was a shame. It really was a shame. And it would have been my first huge one, I think, because it was #1 wherever it was played.
And that song was?
One Night Out with the Boys.
You seen One Night Out with the Boys? Well, you seen them all.
I don't ever sing it anymore.
You don't sing it anymore.
Maybe I'll go back to it, but it was a very hard time for me. This is my assessment as to what part of the track was good.
And that's when gambling, which had been a part-time hobby, became a full-time occupation.
Did you actually make a living as a professional gambler?
Well, I had royalty income from my songs when I wasn't working on music, but every year I would supplement my income from that with racing income. And to say, did I make a lot of money? Could I have survived and just lived with that? Yeah, I could have.
Chip Taylor was born James Wesley Voight in 1940. He changed his name when he went into the music business.
Bless the table and this wonderful gathering of friends and neighbors. God bless us all. That's it.
Amen. Thank you.
And if you've been thinking his face looks awfully familiar, it may be because his brother is Academy Award-winning actor Jon Voight. Their other brother is Barry Voight, a world-famous geologist, and their niece is John's daughter, Angelina Jolie, who won her own Oscar last year.
Each of us had our successes in our careers, and you know, we're proud of each other.
Their father, Elmer, of Czechoslovakian descent, was a professional golfer. Their mother, Barbara, a part-time school teacher. Independence was always encouraged.
If you saw us when we were 7, 8, and 9 years old, you would have known exactly what we were going to do, because I had my ear glued to the radio, maybe 8 years old, glued to the radio. Barry was out in the woods every afternoon, and he was bringing home rocks for us to look at. And John was doing Sid Caesar routines, and there was a lot of people for us every night, making us laugh.
Well, no, really, you know, there are some things that you do when you're children, like you say to your kids, you said, you know, now I realize what my parents went through, you know. I don't know, you know, there were times I don't know how we got through it. I don't know how we lived through that. So, yeah, well, there's nothing like this family.
And finally, it was family that pulled Chip Taylor away from the racetrack and back onto the stage.
Please welcome Chip Taylor!
Restarting his music career.
Well, I taught the weeping willow how to cry, cry, cry. And I showed the clouds how to cover up a clear blue sky.
One morning, 6 years ago, he picked up his guitar and began writing songs again. It was his mother, dying of cancer, who brought him back to the music.
My mom got very ill, and that was the real turning point, because I decided one day, instead of going to the racetrack, to go down and play some songs for Mom to make her feel a little better, you know? So I guess I missed a little bit. Spending the real good quality time with my mom that one day gave me the spirit to do it the next day, not for Mom, but for us, for Mom and me.
You let me in this Bible town with the friends of Jesus, with the lost and found.
And I'd go up to my little recording studio, which had been left dormant for pretty much all the time, and I started recording a couple of things and come down and songs I would just write, play them for Mom.
After his mother's death in 1995, Chip stuck with his music. Surprisingly, despite his success writing rock, it's country music that really moves this boy from Yonkers.
I got them eyes done wrong, so she left me. I am walking these holes in my shoes. She don't come back, I'll die. If she does, I'll just sigh and do the same thing all over. Blues.
You lived most of your life in New York. What are these country songs? Where do they come from? Abilene?
Yeah, well,
you done me wrong, honey?
Well, you know, it's really just the love of a specific kind of music. I mean, for me, it was like this Memphis thing and this country thing that was all over, as opposed to what I was hearing on the radio. I wanted to be that.
And she ain't exactly what you'd call your all-American girl.
He's now released 3 new albums, the latest a 2-CD set called the London Sessions Bootleg. He started his own record company, Trainwreck Records, and is touring the U.S. and Europe to critical acclaim.
Wonderful. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you guys again.
Meanwhile, a rap artist has released a hit version of Taylor's classic Angel in the Morning, and all along the way, Chip Taylor is having the time of his life.
Now, I'm much handsomer now than I was then.
You always knew that Chip had this talent. So when he moved away from it, pretty much, and was spending his time as a gambler, did you think this is a waste of talent? Did it bother you?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
This was a waste of talent. Yes, thank you, Mary.
Did you think that too,
Yes.
John?
Well, you have to know that he has a genius for gambling. You have to understand, there's a lot of talent there that is really being laid to waste now.
You mean by his working on the music?
Yeah, I mean, he's nothing but song. You know? How many hours a day do you have to keep working on songs?